Hey, this will be a robotic trading quick lesson entitled Listen to the Chart, Not the News. If you've been trading for a while and been out on the message boards or chat rooms or blogs or whatever, I'm sure you've seen it where people are talking and chatting about the news and how great this, that, and the other is supposed to be. And then when the news comes out, the total opposite happens. Whether that be the price goes up or down doesn't matter. The point being, it's very hard to judge news, and you don't want to guess. You don't want to just see a press release, read the title, and then guess and say, I think that's good or I think that's bad. There's different ways to go about it, and that's what the point of this lesson is going to be. If you've watched my videos before, you've seen this slide, and if you heard the title of this lesson, we're going to be talking about charts. So if you don't understand charts or don't have an understanding of them and how to use them, then don't go out, watch this video, and then start trying to use them with real money. You can paper trade, sure, but just be careful. This does assume that you understand charts and know how to apply them. So for a quick overview, first thing we're going to cover is when a press release comes out, there's going to be important questions that you need to ask yourself that's going to help you be in a better position to trade it and have an idea of what's going on. So that's the first thing. We've got to figure out what are these important questions that you need to ask yourself. The second part is how do charts help answer these questions? And then thirdly, we're going to put it all to use in a play that happened back a couple months ago, and that just really kind of makes a good example of all this. So for these important questions, when a press release hits the newswire, the very first question you're going to need to ask is there any interest? Meaning, does anybody care about it? How do we measure that, though? That's the other question. And with charts, it's very easy. Just look at the volume. If a press release comes out and it sounds good to you, don't don't go buy because it sounds good to you. First look, and if there's no volume, then you know what? This press release is not generating very much interest. On the other hand, if there's a bunch of volume, then okay, this press release has clearly produce volume, and that is showing that there's lots of interest. So that is just question number one. Is there any interest? Because you don't want to be throwing money at something that's got no interest a part of it. So just because you think it's interesting, first check to see if the market finds it interesting. And again, that's easy to find out. Just pull up the chart and look at some volume. Question number two is, what is a sentiment? If there is interest, is it good or bad sentiment? Meaning, how do people feel about it? Well, how do you know how other people feel about it? Again, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. You may read it and think, wow, this thing's great, I'm very bullish. But if you pull up the chart and you see the volume going down, for example, then you know what? Looks like you were wrong. The market's taking it pretty bearishly. Or the opposite could be true. You could open up the press release and say, this doesn't look too good. And then you look at the price action and you see, wow, actually the sentiment's pretty bullish. Look at that price going up. So that's the second question. Third question is, what is the strength of the sentiment? Meaning, it could be bullish or it could be bearish, but how strong is that feeling? And that's where support and resistance levels come in. Very important, very crucial part of charting. And this is a great example why support and resistances are going to tell you the strength of the feelings of those press releases. So again, when a press release comes out, ask yourself what is the interest. You do that by checking the volume. Ask yourself what type of sentiment, what are the feelings towards the press release. Just look at the price action, and then the strength of those feelings and sentiment. What is the price doing relative to the supports and resistance levels? Here is a chart of ticker symbol DMHI. What I'm going to do is just annotate the chart real quick with some support and resistance levels. I'm not going to go over why certain things are supports and why certain things are resistances. That's a whole other lesson, but I do want to get things mapped out. So let's say you pull up this chart, you've been following it for a while, and you want to map out some things. So first thing you'd want to point out is we have a support level down there. Change that to green. We have a resistance level up here. Change that to red to represent resistance. And then we have another level of resistance right down there. This would be just more of a minor resistance, but a resistance nonetheless. So that would go right there. So that is where the chart currently would stand from an annotation perspective. Now on February 27th, right here, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern, that's important because it came out pre-market. This company released this. DMH International announces acquisition of Touch Medical Solutions. So you see the word acquisition, oh, that seems pretty bullish, and you go through and read it. Now, acquisitions and all that good stuff, that always seems pretty bullish and so forth, but that's just one person's opinion. That's just my opinion, or that's just yours as you go through a press release. We have to see how the market actually thinks about this, and once again, what better way to do that than if you understand charts. Just use a chart. It's much easier this way. So again, here's a press release came out February 27th, pre-market at 9 a.m. Eastern, talking about an acquisition. Let's go figure out what those three questions are. So question number one, was there any interest? Let's see what happens the next day, and look at that. Yes, there was a ton of interest in that press release. You can see that just by the massive volume gain. Second question, what was the sentiment? What did people think about it? Well, apparently that acquisition wasn't so good, because you can see on the daily chart, it was just a nasty, nasty day. So despite what you thought, apparently the market, well, I should take that back. If you thought the acquisition was bullish, then you just you didn't get that one right. But if you're like, that's a pretty crappy acquisition or whatever, then you know what, you guessed right. But the point being, we don't want to guess either way. Let's just let the chart tell us what's going on, and that makes our life so much less stressful and more easy. And then thirdly, what was the sentiment? How strong was the sentiment? How strong was the feelings of bearishness? Well, I think that pretty much answers itself too. Not only did it, not break through any resistance levels, it just crashed through this support, and that just really tells you that things not only did it break above below it, it just really got hammered. So let the chart do the talking for you. And when it opened up there was no reason to buy it. It made a slight move upwards, and then from there, bearishness, bearishness, bearishness. So but I can guarantee you there are some people that read acquisition and they bought right at the open just because they thought that it was a good press release. Well, they thought wrong, and the market went against them. So there's no need to guess. Just let the market do the talking for you through the chart. So real quick, let's go through the chart. This is actually the 1 minute chart, meaning each one of these bars represent 1 minute of price action. So you can see, actually had a nice gap up. So that was fool's gold there. The press release came out, it gapped up. So again, just because it gaps up, that doesn't mean anything. You have to let the trading action do the storytelling for you. So it gapped up. That probably fooled a lot of people. Went up there, opened at 0.1475, and that's pretty much when the nuclear bomb hit it. And from there, you can see, turned into what I call a toilet trend. Just every resistance knocked it down, every support broke. And again, that's why understanding and learning supports and resistance levels are crucial, because each one, that just tells a story here. That it just kept going down and down, and these poor people that thought that the press release was bullish, this is essentially what they were doing, just pouring their money down the toilet. And it eventually went down and bottomed out at 0.038 for a loss of 74.24%. And remember, this is just 1 minute, so this all happened in basically an hour. A 75% loss in almost an hour. And the thing is, it actually went down and hit less than this. It eventually bounced here, but it had gone and hit less than that. And if you pull up the chart right now, who knows? Maybe it's back up above this level, or maybe it's even lower than 0.038. But depending on when you watch this, DMHI, you should pull up the chart and see where it's trading now. But keep in mind, at that press release, it was up at 0.1475. So don't guess on press releases. Let the chart do the talking for you. So finally, in summary, the investment that never stops giving, which is knowledge. When you make an investment to learn charts, you're going to be able to do all this stuff and much more, not just learn how to gauge a press release. So just go over it, learn it, and then when you do and have that knowledge, just determine the interest, determine the sentiment, what people feel towards it, and then determine the strength of that sentiment with support and resistance levels. And there's no more guessing. You'll be able to look at the chart and figure out how the market is looking at that press release. And I can tell you, it makes your life so much less stressful and more efficient. Thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you found it helpful and pulled out some things that you can use in your trading strategy, whatever that may be. If you did find it helpful and informative, then I'd encourage you to check out a couple of these resources here. The first being our robotic trading course. As you can see, it's over 8.5 hours of teaching, so there's plenty of information. There's all sorts of stuff, and with it you'll be able to build your own strategies, learn about charting in general, and just really be able to, like it says, profit in any market environment. Because remember, just because the market may be bad, you can always short and things of that nature. So with the course, it goes over how to use charts, and when you learn the foundational things like that, then you can begin to build your own strategies that benefit you and fit into your personality and so forth. So I'd encourage you to check that out. And also on that note, I'll be the first to admit I'm pretty biased when it comes to it. So I'd encourage you to check out the third-party reviews and testimonials. Those were all unsolicited, all uncompensated. So these were just people that were reaching out to us saying, hey, I bought the course and these are my thoughts. So I'd encourage you to go to that link and just check out third-party reviews, because like I said, uncompensated. They reached out to us and wanted to offer feedback because they were happy with the course. Also, we have a Bull Warrior Stocks newsletter that is located at bullwarriorstocks.com. If you sign up for the free newsletter, you'll receive a free ebook with some charting strategies and so forth, a part of it. And like I said, that chart or the site is completely free, no obligations, no hidden costs, no strings attached, anything like that. You can subscribe, unsubscribe whenever you want to, and you're not going to have any sort of cost or anything pop up. So I'd encourage you to check out that. But as a warning, I'd say that it's better to learn charting and so forth because the Bull Warrior Stock site is revolving around charts. So you got to know what you're doing when you're looking at charts. So place one to start would be up with the course, and then that way you can gain an understanding and add another tool to your tool belt. So again, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or anything on either of these things, please get a hold of me. Thank you and have a good one.